Most PS5 games are expensive. $70 is no joke. So when you buy something pricey, you expect it to be worth it, right? I've played through a bunch of titles to find the ones that truly respect your time and your money. Here are 18 games that deliver way more than they cost. No rambling, let's jump into the video. Number 1. Ghost of Yōtei. Kicking off the list with a game that absolutely defines cinematic value, Ghost of Yōtei. Sucker Punch created an open-world experience that is just stunning. The reason you have zero regret buying this is the unmatched immersion and atmosphere. The open world of Hokkaido is a visual masterpiece, a gorgeous, snowy, rugged samurai movie that you get to play. The guiding wind mechanic makes exploration organic, and every corner of the map feels intentional and beautiful. The gameplay is spectacular. The samurai combat is fluid, heavy, and incredibly satisfying. Mastering the standoffs where you can instantly dispatch enemies with perfect timing never gets old. Switching between the honorable samurai and the deadly ghost persona gives you endless tactical freedom. The protagonist's journey is deeply compelling, dealing with honor, necessity, and the beautiful landscape of Japan. My only critique is that I sometimes wished the side quests had more emotional punch, but the main narrative and the sheer visual quality more than make up for it. For delivering an essential, high-quality, and unforgettable cinematic experience, Ghost of Yōtei is a guaranteed great purchase. 2. Helldivers 2. Next up, let's talk about the co-op phenomenon that became a massive success, Helldivers 2. This game is pure, unadulterated value through its replayability and teamwork focus. The reason you have zero regret buying this is the unmatched co-op chaos and community experience. The gameplay loop of dropping onto hostile planets to fight giant bugs, terminids, and killer robots, automatons, is non-stop, intense fun. The stratagem system, calling in supply drops, airstrikes, and turrets, adds an awesome layer of tactical depth and hilarious, often accidental friendly fire. The gameplay is third-person shooter perfection. It feels crunchy, visceral, and demanding. Success relies entirely on genuine teamwork and communication, which is why it created such a massive community. The progression loop of unlocking better gear and higher difficulty levels keeps you hooked for hundreds of hours. The protagonists are the Helldivers themselves, expendable, enthusiastic heroes of Super Earth. The satirical, over-the-top tone is brilliant. My only frustration was the initial server capacity issues, but once those were ironed out, this game was gold. For delivering infinite replayability, chaotic fun, and the best co-op experience on the PS5, Helldivers 2 is a must-buy value proposition. 3. Resident Evil 4 Remake. Alright, let's talk about a survival horror masterpiece that was perfectly updated, Resident Evil 4 Remake. This is a benchmark for how remakes should be done, and it's worth every single penny. The reason you have zero regret buying this is the perfect blend of classic survival horror and modern action. The game maximized the tension of the original, making resource management brutal while updating the combat to be fluid and incredibly satisfying. The parry mechanic with the knife is a game changer, adding a layer of high-skilled defense. The gameplay is relentless. Playing as Leon Kennedy, the encounters with the Ganados and the massive bosses are intense and unforgettable. The castle and island sections were expanded beautifully, adding great new areas to explore and terrorize. Leon S. Kennedy is an iconic protagonist, and the story is peak, campy survival horror with moments of genuine dread. My only minor critique is that some QTEs or quick time events were removed, but honestly, the refined, tight gameplay more than makes up for it. For delivering one of the most polished, terrifying, and enjoyable survival action experiences on the PS5, Resident Evil 4 Remake is a guaranteed great purchase. 4. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Rounding out the first 4 with the absolute best superhero experience available. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. This game defines cinematic action on the PS5. The reason you have zero regret buying this is the unmatched traversal and pure action spectacle. Swinging through New York City has never felt this good. The addition of the web wings elevates the sense of speed and freedom. Moving around the massive open world is an activity in itself, not just a way to get to a waypoint. The gameplay is phenomenal, seamlessly switching between Peter Parker's aggressive symbiote powers and Miles Morales' electric finesse keeps the combat fresh and dynamic. The boss battles are massive cinematic events that push the PS5 hardware. The story is fantastic, tackling complex themes and featuring one of the best villain interpretations ever with Venom. The emotional stakes are high, and the character development is superb. My only wish is that the side quests felt a little more varied outside the main narrative, but for delivering flawless traversal, top-tier action, and an emotionally engaging superhero story, Spider-Man 2 is a must-own game and a perfect example of value. 5. Kingdom Come: Deliverance 2. Next up, let's talk about a game that gives you immense value through its uncompromising realism and sheer size. Kingdom Come: Deliverance 2. The reason you have zero regret buying this is the unmatched historical immersion. This isn't fantasy. This is a huge, detailed, and historically accurate open world set in 15th century Bohemia. The game forces you to live in its world, dealing with complex social systems, managing reputation, and surviving realistic medieval challenges. The gameplay is deep, demanding, and incredibly rewarding. The combat system is complex, based on authentic historical fencing, requiring patience and mastery. You're not just hacking and slashing, you're learning genuine sword techniques. The sheer scope of the role-playing, from alchemy to smithing, ensures hundreds of hours of unique content. Henry of Skalitz's story is the perfect rags-to-riches journey, making his ascent through the social ranks incredibly satisfying and personal. My only frustration is that the learning curve is steep. It doesn't hold your hand at all, but that challenge is why the victory feels so earned. For delivering a vast, detailed, and brilliantly realistic historical RPG, Kingdom Come: Deliverance 2 is an essential purchase. 6. Dead Space. Let's dive into pure terror and atmosphere with the Dead Space remake. This game is a masterclass in tension, and its technical polish makes it a zero-regret purchase. The reason you have zero regret buying this is the unrelenting tension and claustrophobic atmosphere. The USG Ishimura is a horrifying environment, and the remake maximized the dread with stunning PS5 visuals and perfect 3D audio. The linear structure ensures the tension never lets up. The gameplay is unique and satisfying due to the strategic dismemberment system. You're forced to use the iconic plasma cutter to tactically slice the limbs off the necromorphs. That heavy, desperate combat loop is brilliantly executed and adds incredible weight to every encounter. Isaac Clarke's desperate silent journey through the carnage is compelling, and the lore additions made the world feel even more horrifyingly real. My only critique is that the sheer intensity can be exhausting, meaning you might need breaks. But for delivering a technically perfect, viscerally terrifying, and strategically deep linear survival horror experience, Dead Space is an absolute benchmark. 7. Silent Hill 2 Remake. Next up, a game that delivers unparalleled emotional and psychological horror, Silent Hill 2 Remake. This is a mature, narrative masterpiece brought back to life. The reason you have zero regret buying this is the profound narrative and unmatched atmosphere. The town of Silent Hill is an oppressive, fog-drenched landscape that reflects the protagonist's inner turmoil. The visual and audio fidelity on the PS5 elevates the psychological dread and makes the setting feel intensely real. The gameplay is classic survival horror, slow, deliberate, and focused on challenging puzzles and resource management. The combat is intentionally clunky and desperate, which perfectly reinforces the horror and the theme of a man battling his own guilt. James Sunderland's journey is one of the best, most complex, and most tragic in gaming history. The narrative layers are brilliant and worth revisiting. My only caution is that the themes are dark and difficult, making it a challenging but rewarding experience. For delivering one of the most important and emotionally resonant narratives ever, Silent Hill 2 Remake is an essential, high-value purchase. 8. Metaphor ReFantazio. And finally, let's talk about the incredible value packed into the massive JRPG that is Metaphor ReFantazio. Atlus delivered pure style and substance with this one. The reason you have zero regret buying this is the sheer depth of content and unique style. The game is a massive, visually stunning JRPG from the minds behind Persona, meaning you get hundreds of hours of stylish combat, deep character progression, and complex social simulation. The UI and aesthetic are pure art. The gameplay is a unique blend of fast-paced action and strategic turn-based combat. Mastering the archetype system, the game's class change mechanic, is where the value lies, allowing for incredible customization and strategic depth in battles. Managing your relationships and your time is just as crucial as fighting. The story is fascinating, dealing with deep, mature themes about fear and politics in a gorgeous fantasy world. The protagonist's journey to claim the throne is compelling and full of classic Atlus twists. My only potential critique is the sheer length. It demands a massive time commitment, but that's what makes it such great value. For delivering a huge, visually unique, and mechanically deep JRPG, Metaphor ReFantazio is an instant classic and a zero-regret purchase. 9. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 Heart of Chornobyl. Next up, a game that delivers unparalleled atmospheric survival and immense challenge, S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 Heart of Chornobyl. The reason you have zero regret buying this is the uncompromising systemic open world. The zone is a massive, hostile, and unpredictable environment where literally everything from the weather and the anomalies to the mutants and other stalkers is out to kill you. The atmosphere is suffocating and utterly brilliant. The gameplay is hardcore survival. You're constantly managing radiation exposure, hunger, sleep, and equipment degradation. The gunplay is heavy and desperate, reinforcing that every single bullet is a resource. That high-risk, high-reward loop of venturing deeper into the zone for rare artifacts is addictive and offers endless replay value. The story is non-linear and complex, reacting to your every decision and making the open world feel truly consequential. My only warning is that the difficulty is brutal and the game offers zero handholding, but mastering the zone is the ultimate reward. For delivering the most immersive, atmospheric, and genuinely survival-focused open-world FPS, S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 is a necessary, high-value purchase. Number 10. Death Stranding 2 On the Beach. Let's talk about the game that proves innovation is worth the price tag. Death Stranding 2 On the Beach. Hideo Kojima delivered a stunning philosophical sequel. The reason you have zero regret buying this is the unmatched immersion and unique gameplay. The entire game is built around the Strand game loop, traveling, planning routes, and fighting the hostile environment and BTs. The core value is the sense of overcoming impossible odds and connecting a fractured world. The traversal mechanics and physics are brilliant. The story is pure, complex, mind-bending cinema. The visuals are stunning, and the performance capture from the amazing cast ensures you are fully invested in the narrative, no matter how weird it gets. The new mechanics, like the customizable mobile base, expanded the depth of the world in incredible ways. Sam Porter Bridges continues his journey as an anchor in a surreal world. His dedication and struggle are the emotional core. My only critique is that the slow, deliberate pace demands patience, which can be frustrating if you're looking for instant action. But for delivering a massive, visually stunning, and philosophically deep experience that you simply cannot get anywhere else, Death Stranding 2 is a masterpiece of innovation. Next up, a game that delivers immense value through its stunning artistry and deep combat system, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This RPG is a visually unique gem. The reason you have zero regret buying this is the artistic excellence and strategic depth. The game's world, inspired by 19th century French art, is gorgeous and gives the entire adventure a distinct feel. The story of the Expedition 33 team on a desperate final mission to save humanity is emotionally powerful. The gameplay is a brilliant hybrid RPG. It uses turn-based strategy for actions, but requires real-time timed inputs for parries and blocks during enemy attacks. That blend of classic strategy and active skill keeps every battle tense and engaging, demanding mastery. The character progression is complex and deep, offering hundreds of hours of customization and strategic party building. My only frustration was the initial complexity of the combat system, but once you master the timing, it becomes incredibly addictive. For delivering a visually unique, emotionally resonant, and strategically demanding RPG, Clair Obscur is an excellent, zero-regret purchase. Number 12, Monster Hunter Wilds. And finally for this segment, let's talk about the action RPG that delivered the ultimate hunting fantasy, Monster Hunter Wilds. This game is a massive time sink and pure fun. The reason you have zero regret buying this is the seamless open world and unrivaled combat depth. Capcom finally gave us a truly seamless open world where massive monsters move through dynamic ecosystems. The core loop of hunting, carving, and crafting is more addictive than ever. The gameplay is incredibly rewarding. The signature weapon variety and complex attack patterns demand skill and patience. The addition of the Seeker mount and the dynamic weather, which impacts monster behavior, made every hunt fresh. That feeling of finally taking down a massive elder dragon after a 40-minute battle, unmatched satisfaction. The protagonist is the hunter, and the focus is on progression and mastery. The multiplayer component is fantastic for chaotic, shared victories. My only critique is that the sheer amount of content can be overwhelming for newcomers, but for delivering the most polished, visually stunning, and endlessly engaging action RPG hunting experience on the PS5, Monster Hunter Wilds is a guaranteed zero-regret purchase. Number 13, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition. Alright, let's talk about the undisputed king of narrative value, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition. This isn't just a game, it's an entire world delivered for one price. The reason you have zero regret buying this is the unparalleled narrative depth and content. The open world of the Northern Realms is massive, but every single side quest is written like a main quest, complex, morally gray, and consequential. The included expansions, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine, add entire new regions and another 100+ hours of essential content. It's the best value proposition in gaming. The gameplay is an immersive RPG experience. You're hunting monsters, mixing potions, using Witcher signs, and engaging in deep, challenging combat. The satisfaction of tracking a massive beast and finally taking it down is incredible. Geralt of Rivia is one of the best protagonists ever, dry-witted, reluctant, and deeply human. His relationships with Ciri, Yen, and Triss anchor the epic story. My only critique is that the early game combat felt a little clunky before skill investment, but the story more than compensates. For delivering the most narratively rich, content-dense, and emotionally complex open-world RPG ever, The Witcher 3 is a timeless, zero-regret purchase. 14. Returnal. Next up, let's talk about a game that defines high-stakes replayability and pure action. Returnal. This PS5 exclusive is an adrenaline shot. The reason you have zero regret buying this is the addictive roguelite loop and fluid action. Playing as Celine, every time you die, the alien planet Atropos changes, creating a constantly fresh challenge. That high-risk, high-reward cycle is what keeps you hooked for dozens of hours, chasing that perfect run. The gameplay is fast-paced, third-person, bullet hell perfection. Celine's movement is fluid, and the DualSense implementation is incredible, feeling the trigger resistance change for alt-fire and the haptic feedback for rain is next-level immersion. The combat is demanding and requires absolute precision. The story is a compelling, dark mystery that you slowly piece together across multiple loops, giving meaning to the endless struggle. My only frustration was the brutal difficulty and losing long runs, but that feeling of finally breaking through to the next biome is pure euphoria. For delivering a unique, technically brilliant, and intensely addictive action experience, Returnal is a must-own. Number 15, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. Now let's discuss a game that delivers unparalleled emotional power and technical quality, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. This is a narrative benchmark. The reason you have zero regret buying this is the unflinching emotional narrative and technical polish. The story is a difficult, mature, and deeply complex exploration of revenge and empathy following Ellie and Abby. The high frame rate and fidelity of the remaster make the world and the characters feel incredibly real. The gameplay is visceral, high-stakes survival horror. Every combat encounter with the infected or human factions is tense and desperate. The grounded stealth, crafting, and brutal melee combat ensure the intensity never drops. Ellie and Abby are two of the most complex and memorable protagonists in gaming. Their journey is emotionally draining, but artistically brilliant. My only note is that the themes are heavy and dark, which is deliberate. But for delivering an incredibly polished, technically stunning, and emotionally resonant linear experience that will truly stick with you, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered is an essential purchase. 16. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Let's talk about a game that gives you absolutely massive JRPG value and cinematic scope. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This is a masterpiece of modern gaming. The reason you have zero regret buying this is the sheer scale, content, and cinematic quality. This is a gigantic open-world JRPG adventure packed with unforgettable side quests, mini-games, and secrets. Exploring the world on a chocobo and seeing classic locations realized in stunning detail is breathtaking. The combat system is phenomenal, perfectly blending real-time action with tactical menu commands. Mastering the synergy abilities between Cloud, Tifa, and the party members adds incredible strategic depth and visual spectacle. The story is iconic, and the sheer joy of seeing these beloved characters expanded and brought to life makes the narrative value immense. My only critique is that some of the minigames felt a little distracting, but honestly, that's a small price for this much content. For delivering a massive, visually stunning, and emotionally satisfying JRPG epic, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a mandatory high-value purchase. 17. Baldur's Gate 3. Next up, the game that defines player freedom and role-playing value, Baldur's Gate 3. This game is an absolute time sink and a generational masterpiece. The reason you have zero regret buying this is the unmatched player choice and replayability. The game reacts to nearly every single decision you make, offering almost infinite replay value across different classes and moral paths. The content is absolutely massive, often giving you 3 different ways to complete any objective. The gameplay is deep, strategic, turn-based D&D combat. Mastering the environments, the spells, and the synergy between your party members is incredibly rewarding. You feel rewarded for being creative. The characters are some of the best written in gaming history. Astarion, Shadowheart, Lae'zel, their stories are compelling, personal, and hugely engaging. My only issue is that the sheer size and complexity can be intimidating for newcomers, but the value is unmatched. For delivering a generational RPG experience that prioritizes player freedom and choice above all else, Baldur's Gate 3 is the best value purchase you can make. And 18, Split Fiction. And finally, let's talk about the game that delivered unmatched innovation, Split Fiction. This one gave you 2 games for the price of 1, literally. The reason you have zero regret buying this is the mind-bending dual-world innovation. You were playing 2 completely separate but interwoven campaigns simultaneously, one genre instantly affecting the other. That feeling of solving a high-tech puzzle in one reality by physically manipulating something in the fantasy reality is pure genius. The gameplay is constantly surprising. It forces you to think laterally and master 2 completely different sets of mechanics, shooter and RPG, at the same time. This constant reinvention kept the experience fresh from start to finish. The story, about the 2 protagonists whose realities collide, is unique and deeply compelling. My only caution is that the complexity can be a lot to process early on, but for delivering the most innovative and unique gameplay structure of the year, offering endless new ways to play and think, Split Fiction is an essential, zero-regret purchase. And that is the list, guys. 18 absolute masterpieces that guarantee you get every single dollar's worth, and then some. These are the zero-regret purchases for your PS5. So I want to hear from you. Which of these games gave you the most value for your dollar? Was there a PS5 title that you bought with zero regrets that I missed? Let me know all your authentic opinions down in the comments below.